If you're interested in doing more with your smartphone videography, a gimbal like the DJI OM5 is the tool you'll need to achieve your goal. DJI's latest gimbal increases the level of quality of your footage through hardware stabilization beyond your smartphone's onboard stabilization. A gimbal like the OM5 reduces the jitter and bumps while using your phone, adding finesse and enabling you to capture much more smooth video. In this video, I cover off the most useful features of the DJI OM5 and some basic tips on how to use a gimbal if you're using one for the very first time. In the box is the gimbal itself, a short 1/4-inch tripod that doubles up as a handle, and a magnetised bracket to mount your phone. The OM5 is lighter than its predecessor, the OM4, and also features a more compact design for better portability and storage. This last point is especially important for smartphone videography, where you want to be able to pack the gimbal with you as easily as you can carry your own mobile phone. The main controls include a power stroke programmable mode button, a zoom rocker, main shutter button, and a thumbstick to control the pan, roll and tilt of the gimbal itself. There's also a button to control the rotation of your smartphone from portrait to landscape orientation. On the front of the device is a trigger button that enables you to access the most common functions, such as AI tracking of your subject and resetting the gimbal to its default position. Finally, the OM5 features a telescopic extension for even greater flexibility, whether for selfie videos or for more creative shots. Charging the gimbal is managed via a USB-C connection and charges from empty in about 90 minutes. The charge is rated to last at least 6 hours according to DJI themselves on their website. Your phone is attached to the gimbal via a bracket with a super strong magnet, which is good enough to cope with even the larger modern phones. For reference, it takes the weight of my Pixel 6 Pro, which weighs over 210 grams, in its official case without any concerns. It's worth mentioning the use of the magnet attachment is a great feature. It enables you to quickly and easily use the OM5. You can leave the bracket on and quickly detach your phone to use as normal. However, depending on the model of your phone, it may block certain use of the physical buttons like the volume rocker on my Pixel 6 Pro. To unfold the gimbal, simply twist the arm out of the lock position, then you unfold the hinge. To fold the gimbal, reverse the process by turning the arm towards you and then folding the arm down. While it might be obvious to some, it took me quite a few sessions before I realised this was the way to avoid tangling the gimbal when trying to use it. The official DJI app includes some more gimmicky features which I won't go into depth for this video. Primary among these is the beauty mode, which can create a number of cosmetic adjustments to you in real time, including making your face slimmer or enlarging your eyes. Clone Me Pano is another fun feature that provides a very specific creative outlet for photography. Here you can place your OM5 in a static location and then move between 3 positions to create interesting montage photos. The first step when using a gimbal is correctly balancing your phone. Gimbals are designed so that you have to find the optimal point where the phone independently will stay level, either in landscape or portrait mode. The objective is to reduce the amount of torque applied to the motors in the gimbal so that the gimbal can easily move the phone. In fact, incorrectly balanced gimbals will put too much stress on the motors, causing them to fail. The good news is the DJI OM5 has a failsafe that automatically switches off the motors to save them from burning out, should you incorrectly calibrate your gimbal. You'll see the warning appear on the screen in the DJI app, and the gimbal will go limp. You should then rebalance your phone. You can make finite adjustments by moving the center of the bracket to help find the sweet spot. Place your thumb on the chin of the phone and hook your forefinger around the bracket, but not the gimbal arm, and then gently slide the bracket to the center of gravity. If you go too far, reverse your grip and use your forefinger on the top of the phone and hook your thumb on the bracket to more easily adjust the position. With some devices, the center of gravity won't be equidistant to the position of the device due to the placement of the components, such as the camera, which add extra weight to one end of the phone, so some trial and error is required for each model of smartphone. Once successfully balanced, you can now move to auto calibration by navigating to the option in the menu. Using the included tripod attachment, set the gimbal with the phone attached on a flat surface and tap the button. The gimbal will now automatically run through a series of movements to accurately level the phone. If you need to make refinements, simply tap on the horizontal gimbal adjustment and you can incrementally tweak the gimbal until it's level. The best position to hold the OM5 is with a pistol grip. The angle and position of the handle is ergonomically designed so that it aligns with the natural position of your arm and hand. For more creative uses, which I'll cover off later in this video, you can use the telescopic arm hinge at the top to further increase the angle of the phone. This extra hinge is especially useful when you're trying to move the phone for more acute angles beyond the gimbal's motor limits. One important aspect of using a gimbal is the proper technique for getting the smoothest footage. My pro tip for directing the position of your phone is to twist the gimbal so that your hand aligns with the subject you're trying to keep in frame. Essentially, you're pointing an imaginary pistol using your forefinger as the guide to align your camera and the subject. However, unlike using a firearm, you want to pivot the angle using your wrist rather than your whole arm or body. The smaller, more refined movements using your wrist to direct the gimbal will provide much better results for videos. The second pro tip I have is to slowly stop moving your wrist a little earlier before you try and frame your subject. Reducing the speed of your motion to gently bring the scene into frame will stop you from overshooting your alignment with your subject. Mastering this technique is especially important for horizontal panning shots, but also applies to vertical movement too. The gimbal's momentum will naturally make it overshoot, so with some practice you should learn how to finesse your movement to keep the footage perfectly in frame. While you can achieve a lot through manual control of the gimbal, the OM5 in combination with the DJI Mimo App includes an absolutely essential technology. ActiveTrack 4.0 is the fourth iteration of DJI's motion tracking software that uses artificial intelligence to keep the subject in frame. The feature is activated either by tapping the trigger on the OM5 or drawing a box around the subject on the app screen for more finite targeting. With ActiveTrack engaged, you no longer need to spend quite as much effort keeping your subject in frame. You will still need to make sure that the camera can see the subject, but the app and the gimbal will work in tandem to give you near flawlessly smooth footage while you're in motion or while your subject is in motion. There are limits if the app loses track of the target. The tracking will stop, in most cases it will not be clever enough to reacquire the target if it re-enters the frame. However, this is a small price to pay for what is ultimately a brilliant feature. Now you can achieve even more creative shots with the AI removing a lot of the burden from the operator to capture really stunning video. Outside of the normal footage, you can also combine ActiveTrack with other features to produce even more innovative shots, which would be almost impossible manually. If you've ever watched the movie Jaws by Steven Spielberg, there's one iconic scene which is shown time and again in reviews and retrospectives. As the main character is sitting on the beach, the camera zooms in on him, but the background zooms away, creating a particularly eye-catching and surreal effect. With the DJI Mimo app, you can now recreate the dolly zoom effect. DJI makes it a simple task by selecting either the classic zoom in or alternatively the reverse zoom out effect. For best results, my personal recommendation is to find a location with diminishing perspective, like a tunnel or a corridor. Here, the movement is further exaggerated by the environment around the subject and contributes to a more dramatic result. Timelapse and Hyperlapse are two features natively supported in the DJI Mimo app. There's some confusion on the difference, but put simply, time-lapse is the process of taking a sequence of frames at set intervals to record changes that take place slowly over time. When the frames are shown at normal speed or in quick succession, the action seems much faster. Time-lapse with the OM5 is best used with a tripod and gives you lots of control over the duration and direction of your shot. Hyperlapse is a time-lapse, but while the camera and the gimbal are moving. The time-lapse mode features the ability to set a pan direction, but also set your own keyframes, which is great if you want to capture a specific scene. Under the gimbal settings, you can find another useful set of options. Follow, tilt lock, FPV, and spin shot are different ways to subtly control the gimbal for different effects while shooting. Follow mode locks the roll axis to avoid rolling the camera from left to right, but still enables pan and tilt. Tilt lock enables the pan axis and keeps the horizon level. FPV, or first person view, enables all three axes to move, emulating drone or flight footage, sweeping from left to right as the camera moves. Spin shot gives you the power to use your thumb joystick to gently rotate your smartphone either left or right instead of panning the camera. One other mode that will be useful to most is the sport mode. Double pressing and holding the trigger button will activate it. Now the velocity of the gimbal will increase to enable capturing fast moving objects more smoothly, keeping them in frame. As well as some obvious selfie advantages for vloggers and content creators wanting to video themselves, the telescopic handle enables much more creative uses. One such example is capturing much more unique shots, such as pushing through small apertures like windows and fences, giving the illusion the camera is levitating by itself. Better still, the spin shot mode can also be used at the same time, giving very cinematic results. Another useful application is holding the gimbal upside down to get closer to the ground but still maintaining smooth footage in a way that even trying to crouch with your smartphone would be impossible. One last really fun use is to recreate either basic drone or jib shots, where the extra reach gives the illusion the camera is flying or attached to a professional jib for capturing wider scenes. DJI has included some fun features in the DJI Mimo app for absolute beginners too. The first is Story, which can be found in the main camera user interface, and the second is ShotGuides. ShotGuides uses AI to identify the scenes your camera sees and recommend a series of clips to capture. The app uses pre-recorded videos to show you what to capture and then guide you through the process step by step to get your own footage. Then at the end of the tutorial, it will edit your clips together to create a video. mode takes the process even further with more prescriptive direction. It gives you a set amount of seconds to capture the scene before moving on to the next example. Again, at the end of each template, it will automatically edit the clips into a coherent video that's ready to share on social media or other apps. The DJI Mimo app also features an editor with preset templates. Much like the ShotGuides and Story mode, the mode guides you through the process of making a video. The editor takes your existing clips and enables you to put them together quickly following a selection of preset styles. When complete, you also have the option to upload your creation and share with the DJI community via the app. Or if you prefer, you can save to your device and share on other social media platforms. I can see this being useful for users who want to quickly export a video with limited time. There are limits to the level of creativity you can achieve, but it's a fun mode nonetheless. The DJI Mimo app also features a more traditional editor for putting together videos. Here you have complete control over the order, duration, transitions and music options. Interestingly and somewhat confusingly, the AI editor on the main app menu and the Pro editor found as a sub-menu at the bottom seem to have the same function. Unlike the ShotGuides and Story mode, you have carte blanche to make your own edits to your footage. The available features are much more limited than a desktop editor, but on a par with mobile editors such as GoPro's app and the Adobe Premiere Rush app. When it comes to the final summary of using the DJI OM5, my thoughts are very much based on how the hardware combines with the software as a final experience. There's a lot to love about the OM5, but it's not without some areas where there's room for improvement. One of the biggest problems I experienced was the gimbal disconnecting from the app an alarming amount of times. After much trial and error, the solution was to restart my phone and then restart the app when it did disconnect. Another detraction is the resolution of the Timelapse and Hyperlapse videos, which are not great and come out very grainy. This is especially noticeable when compared to the native time-lapse mode on the Pixel 6 Pro. However, that's probably the only two negative points to the OM5. It's a solid, premium-feeling device. The battery lasts a comfortable amount of time and a lot longer than the average user will need. The magnetic clip design is great, and while it can block physical buttons, DJI have compensated for the issue. The bracket has curved grips that accommodate the physical buttons by avoiding clamping directly onto them. So with that, the DJI OM5 is the perfect gimbal for your mobile phone videography needs. If you're interested in elevating your output to the next level, this is the device for you. Thank you for watching, and as always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content on the connected home and personal technology.